Hell, if I
Well,
I'll put it this way, and I do not mean this as any offense, but if I were to list only albums, only rap albums that I've heard all the way through, if those were the only things that could be candidates for, my favorite album, My Secret Identity would be in my top 5 automatically.
oh, you didn't know?
Your ass better call somebody.
You see, it's me. It's that Superjaz. And I'm hanging with the feogrande.
Feo to the G.
That was much, much, much better. Anyway.
But yes, that's exactly the one I thought of.
Sorry, I did that right when you were talking. How rude of me.
Do it again. There we go. Yeah, that's exactly the one I thought of. Like, I'm like, oh, do you have a quote for O? Oh, okay.
What's funny is it took me a good little minute to think of that, like over the weeks and shit. And right now I can't necessarily think of one for P, but we'll figure that out. Anyway,
Pimpin' is easy.
Well, now I can't say that because you said it.
What? I said pimpin' is easy. That's a character I made.
You know what I mean. We'll see. Anyway, now, for those of you all who do not know, welcome back to those of you all returning, and welcome to those of you all who are just now meeting us. This is the Whatever We Want podcast. I am one of your hosts. I go by the name of Jazz, or you can call me Superjaz, SJ, JT, whatever you want, what have you, in the like. And I am joined, as always, with...
Y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis feogrande on YouTube, occasionally referred to as Pete on the show. How you doing? I already asked that. Hope you guys are doing good.
You thought you had to say a whole lot more shit again, and you realized your intro. You had on the last episode where you were like, "My intro is long as fuck." No, it's not that long.
I think I'm just also it's when you do the whole switch from one host to the other. It's one of those things where it's like usually I'd say like so hey grande on YouTube and I am joined by, or I go into the topic, but it was more like.
That's because we just did a whole 26 episodes of you hosting, so I got to keep remembering to break before I intro the show and let's introduce ourselves and then intro, because I was used to saying the whole spiel and then so I get it. Anyway, as I said, yes, this is the Whatever We Want podcast, where we do just that. We talk about whatever we want. We do not lead this conversation. This conversation leads us, and we let the chips fall where they may.
Every Wednesday.
What about Thursday?
Hey. I don't know. I Thursdays I gotta record the other show for the other channel.
What about Friday?
Friday. Look, I ain't gonna put my whole schedule out here for these people. I love you guys. I love my fellow Americans, but I can't.
What about Saturday? Or Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh man. What about Monday? What Tuesday?
Tuesday, friend of mine. Tuesday, wait again.
Can you think of a song for every day of the week?
Wednesday, you went away. Thursday, things weren't the same. So on Friday, you came back. I wanted to kiss you on Saturday, but Sunday we made love. Now what are we gonna do? I forget who did that song, but it was a R&B song in the early 2000s / late 90s.
You said what's it again?
It was like an R&B song in the 90s or early 2000s.
What the fuck is that? You know what that kind of reminded me of, but it might not be so much that it reminded me of. I just for some reason have been thinking about this song somewhat recently. Here's the radio edit version. You, I don't want you back. you.
Fuck what I said. What I did. That dude is just not happy.
They played that song on the radio, even though it was so explicit.
Why would they put that on the radio?
And that song was all over the radio.
Not even like, and it wasn't even like a forget style edit. Where it's like, forget what I said, forget what I done. No, it was you.
Dude, the way he felt, that was fuck this bitch. Cause he's like, have you ever actually like read them lyrics and actually really like?
Yes, because I believe it came up on a previous.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay, dang. Well, that's how you know we've been doing it.
Because we thought about doing it as my like F lyric.
Oh, that's right. And we thought it was too much. That's right. Fuck you, you hoe. God damn.
Welcome to the show. Fuck you, you hoe. I don't want you back. Hey guys, y'all know who it is, what's going on, what is happening, where it's at, and why we're here today.
You know what's bad though? Is that song is such like a, fuck you, but if you were to just, and then just like put random words and gibberish in there, it's actually a really well-crafted song.
Song I was talking about earlier was 7 Days by Mary J. Blige, released late 97.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I came to bring the pain hardcore to the jugular.
True.
Yeah.
Pain.
Early Method Man. Speaking of Mary J. Blige, reminded me of Method
What's that?
Man.
Didn't hear you.
Early Method Man.
Come on, a little louder.
You can hear me.
Everybody in together now.
I was about to say
what?
You were making a reference to that.
What? just the. You could hear me.
Because the first time I thought you couldn't hear me because we're going over Zoom and we have issues every now and then.
I know. That's what made it great.
Anyway, no, what I was getting at was reminded me of Method Man. Like it made me think of Method Man, his early stuff before he became like the icon that he is now. When he was in like Wu-Tang and just started getting big and whatever, because they had that song, "You're All I Need
to get by."
Which is actually a cover of a song that Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell did way before, but then Mary J. Blige did the cover for the chorus, and then Method Man threw some verses on that bitch.
Fair enough. I don't think I knew that one.
I knew that because my mom, older parents, my mom, turned me and my brother on to that, and it was like, oh, so I've known that for a long time. But yeah, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, you're all damn near the same like tempo. I need to get by, and then of course they added the I, and then just like morning dew, yeah, and then Method Man shorty on me or something on me, whatever the fuck you said. But yeah. Anyway, you ever get into Wu-Tang?
Not seriously enough. They're great, but I can't. I'm not gonna be here like, oh yeah, RZA had that one album where he and Ghostface was going in, and on that one track, I wouldn't be able to tell you. The main reason I even knew until like I got older and had heard it enough mentioned in pop culture. The first time I even realized people like RZA and Ghostface Killer were Wu-Tang people was because of the Wu-Tang fighting game.
Damn, Wu-Tang fighting game. It makes sense, but I didn't
know. It was. Then they had like. Yeah, it was a fighting game. I forget what the name of it was, but yeah, they had characters like RZA, Method Man, Redman, fucking Ghostface Killer.
Oh, you talking about Def Jam Fight for New York?
No.
Oh, shit.
This one was more Wu-Tang specific.
Oh, it makes sense because
And it was on the PlayStation 1.
because of them loving the kung fu movies, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they even had like fucking like ninja powers and shit.
Martial arts.
Yeah, there was
That's like
definitely a martial arts like kung fu movie inspired or Asian culture inspired fighting game featuring
um
Wu Tang.
my friend, right? I eventually I'm going to like really. I don't know if I've ever fully made it all the way through Return to the 36 Chambers, which is the crazy part because that was Wu Tang's debut, which a lot of people to this day say is one of the best rap albums of all time. But
Wu
anyway,
Tang Shaolin style.
that's something that they've said before. I didn't know that was a game.
Yep, Sony PlayStation console.
But I
1999 by Midway.
holy shit. Oh, so the same people that made Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
But no, I don't even know if I've heard all of their debut. I've heard most of it, but I feel like there's a song or two that I keep missing every time I listen to it, which is crazy. Anyway, friend of mine, my friend actually, who helps me to film my music videos. For those of you all who don't know, I rap. You can look me up under Superjaz, Superjaz. Find the video, go ahead and listen to it. I'd appreciate it. Cool. Anyway, but the dude that helps me with the conceptualizing and directing those videos helps me, like, you know, he's the cinematographer of it and all that shit. He loves music in general, rap, whatever, but just in general music, like myself. And he was saying like, yeah, man, like this was months ago, but he was like, yeah, I'm gonna actually like, you know, try to go through Wu-Tang's like whole discography because you got 9 dudes. Rest in peace to Old Dirty Bastard. But you got 9 dudes who like collectively sound good. They all sound unique solo, but all amazing in their own way, right? These motherfuckers made a few collective albums and then solo made so many like albums solo that were all good. This dude was like, yeah, I think he said something like for all of the albums for him to hear their collective shit and then solo shit, it was something like 30 fucking projects or some shit. I was like, damn, that sounds about right though. You got fucking 9 master MCs that got together and, you know, solo made some bangers and then together.
Yeah.
Shit, if 9 of them made 2 projects, that's 27. So now that makes sense. And then I think ODB had definitely had 2. I think he might have had 3 solo projects before he passed away. So yeah. Not Return to the 36 Chambers. Return to 36 Chambers was ODB's debut. Wu-Tang's debut was the 36 Chambers. Into the 36 Chambers. Return to the 36 Chambers, Old Dirty Bastard. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Anyway. You know, Pete. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Real talk, which is one of the songs off of 36 Chambers.
Mm-hmm.
Have I ever asked you, and I mean this not in like general consensus, but just to you, to Omari, what is your possible favorite rap album of all time?
Yeah. I don't know about album, but you definitely said rapper or
I've
musical artist.
Yeah, I've asked you that.
And all of that. For lack of for a want not to hold this up for like 20 minutes of me just sitting here overthinking the question, I'm going to say The Love Below. Not Speaker Box Slash, just The Love Below. And I'll tell you why I say that is primarily because it's the one I can remember listening to the most. Aside from that, probably it's the one I remember listening to the most and am more proud of listening to. Because other albums that I probably listened to a lot when I was a kid, like as a kid, I didn't listen to whole ass albums. Unless you're talking about like a random Eminem album here or there. And even then, I didn't listen to any album as much until I listened to The Love Below and like actually listened to like 90% of the songs on it.
I listened to some full albums here and there, but I didn't digest music to the level that I do as I got older. And I mean before I started trying to write it myself, I just digested it more and wanted to actually be like, okay, let me actually see what this artist has that's not on the radio and give them a full chance as I got older.
Yeah.
But I mean, in high school, I started listening to like full albums and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was high school for me too. But and for the people at home, I'm not saying Lupolo is like some 10 out of 100 or 100 out of 10 masterpiece that no other album can touch. It's just the album I've listened to the most. I can admit that there are albums out there that are objectively better. I just can't tell you what those are. I'm just gonna go ahead and agree with you. But if you tell me like, how dare you? KRS-One had this real like obscure underground album from back in '92 that everyone should have fucking known, and that should be your best album if you a real rap head. I guess I'm not a real rap head. Whatever. You got
well,
that.
That's why I said what's Omari's, not what what you say for general consensus. I say what's yours.
I said for the people at home.
Okay. Well, hopefully they're listening.
Because you know, this is the internet. Well, you know, my opinion is all they need to get mad. So they'll go out there and start typing and just like, I don't know.
They'll do what?
They'll go out there and start typing like, whoa!
Sorry, one more time for the one time.
So they'll get mad and they'll start typing like, whoa!
Anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, okay, KRS-One, Criminal Minded, where he's got the gun and he's like feeling like this and shit. Because did
he actually have an underground album in '92?
I don't know if it came out in '92, but he definitely. Criminal Minded is not super duper underground, but he did have like an album, and that is considered not the best, but one of the best albums made. And I don't know if it came out in '92, but it definitely did come out. I don't know. He used to be part of Boogie Down Productions, whatever. Well, now we got to kind of look it up, don't we?
I'm totally looking it up.
KRS-One, Criminal Minded. KRS-One, Criminal. There we go. And it's him and
87. Okay.
Okay, I'm about to say I gotta get my number too.
Because I was just talking out my ass. I was just choosing like insert top MC that not everybody says, you know, or should say. Someone that everyone should say if you listen to the real rap enthusiasts. You know, I'm like one of those people for the real rap enthusiasts, and I'm just picked like early. I just chose random time long back. But then you're like, so yeah, KRS-One's Criminal Minded with the. I'm like, no, tell me that did not actually come out in '92. I was just talking out of my ass. Please let me be wrong when I said that. Not actually accurate.
You're like, I wanted to pull this from nothing. Don't tell me that I actually pulled it from something. Anyway, like I was saying, KRS-One had an album because we were talking about albums that may be general consensus, not the best top 10, top 20 rap albums. KRS-One, Criminal Minded, where he's like got his gun and he's peering over his shoulder like this, which is supposed to be an homage to the famous. Now you might actually notice the famous picture of Malcolm X peering around the corner with his gun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he was he was making an homage to that. But no, like I said, I started very much listening to full albums throughout high school, but I started really digesting, like really listening to lyrics, not just in rap, but in just music in general, really listening to lyrics a little bit more in high school. And over the years I've done it. And of course I do it even more now because one, I'm grown, and two, I actually rap myself. So, but like I would probably say, and see, this is the thing, I don't know what my number one rap album of all time is, but for the sake of its influence on me with the art that I try to create with my music journey, I'd probably have to say Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor.
Yeah. Wait, which one had Kick Push on it?
Food and Liquor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that one from you.
Oh, because I talk about it all the time?
Yeah, you mentioned Lupe being one of your biggest influences.
Well, yeah,
in
we
a
talked about.
previous episode. So last episode, I think you mentioned something about Kendrick, and I was like, okay, fair. I figured you obviously people can like more than one thing, but remembering the Lupe thing, I was like, I'm surprised you actually do agree about the Kendrick. But I'm not surprised because Kendrick is great. All that I've heard of Kendrick's, I've enjoyed. So I can't even sit here like, no, it was good. Kendrick's
Have
great.
you have you ever heard a full Kendrick Lamar album?
Nope.
Not to condemn you if you haven't, just curious.
I haven't heard, and again, that's part of why The Love Below was the album I picked. I haven't heard a lot of full albums. Hell, if
Well,
I'll put it this way, and I do not mean this as any offense, but if I were to list only albums, only rap albums that I've heard all the way through, if those were the only things that could be candidates for, my favorite album, My Secret Identity would be in my top 5 automatically.
but that was seen. I mean, first of all, cool, thank you. But at the same time, like you said, the pool is not that big. But then also that would seem pretty like a lot of nepotism was at foot.
I'm just being honest. I haven't listened to a lot of whole rap albums because while I like the genre, it's hard for me to listen to rap music solely for the sake of it's rap music. Same thing with any music, I guess. Technically, I'm weird.
I was about to say, yeah, I get what you mean though, because I mean, I went back. Like one thing that I started doing within the last like year, 2 years was I started listening to a lot of stuff that I was too young to appreciate or even fucking understand when it came out. So I went back and I listened to Nirvana's Nevermind. I listened to Jagged Little Pill by
Well, I also specified rap albums.
well, that's why I was just talking about like music in general, like Alanis Morissette, like shit like that. So
Oh yeah, music in general. No, My Secret Identity would not be in the top 5. It'd be more like in the top 15.
Well, just because you've only heard like 15 albums already.
Yeah, because I don't listen to a lot of whole albums. I'm picky when it comes to not picky when it comes to my music. It's not like I'm pinky out like another 4-chord song. No, nothing
I know
like
what
that.
you mean, but I see what you mean too. Like if you phrase it, I'm picky, it makes you sound like a music snob.
I'm just more. I'm more of an ignorant member of the masses in the sense that it's like, oh, here's a hit song or here's a song I like. If I'm listening to this album, I pick the songs from an album that I have either heard before, or if I somehow that day decide to listen to a whole album, like, okay, I'll take these 3. And those are all I'm going to listen to forever, never really listening to the album again. That's why it was rare in the case of The Love Below that it was an album that I constantly listened to damn near all of. I don't know if you count Linkin Park as rap music, in which case I might have to, but in the case of what's your favorite rap album, I don't think you would count Linkin Park as a candidate for that.
Well, I mean, depending on who you ask, Andre 3 Stacks is a rapper, but is The Love Below really a rap album? So
it's
because he did a lot of singing on there. And that's not me trying to contest you. I'm just saying, like,
did a lot of rapping too. Well, let's see. Love Hater was mainly singing.
Just how much you listen to it that you could go through the track list, remember the songs and all that shit. That's cool though.
Yeah, there's a good mixture. There's a lot of singing done on there. I will give you that.
Yeah, I remember you listening to The Love Below a lot when it came out though. But that's because you always like had an affinity for Outkast.
Yeah, I believe in our Who's Your Favorite Rapper or Artist, I think I put Outkast as the thing. And then I think I also put in the caveat, well, I don't know if you count as rap. I definitely listened to a lot of that. My high school, like that's the thing. A lot of people have these long lists of things that they like that shaped them to who they are. And while I have while I have lists of things that shaped me to the way I am, the lists are very small. like by
I don't
comparison to
necessarily
most,
have
because
arms that's
like
good.
my high school era, like some people are like, yeah, in high school I was into blue blah blit blit, that, and I'm like, yeah, I liked Dragon Ball, I liked Final Fantasy, I liked Linkin Park and wrestling, and Outcast
It's not
and
bad though. But
acting.
I know you mean most people had like a like yeah,
Yeah,
I get
they
what
have
you're
a
saying.
Jericho-esque list.
Oh shit.
But
Word.
I guess my list would be like a Jericho list, but you replace Armbar with the, like Dragon Ball or Outcast.
Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball.
Gundam Wing.
Dragon Ball GT.
No, I did not step into the Grand Tour.
Did you ever give GT a chance? All we are saying is give GT a chance.
Did
Did you ever
you?
give GT? No, I didn't. That's why I'm asking.
No,
I was being silly.
no, I have not stepped into the
No.
Grand Tour. I know everything that happens in GT. I know of all the things, and I don't like it. I know what I know of the series. I don't like, and what little bit I have seen wasn't enough for me to keep watching. But I think it was primarily because, like, the main thing that kept me from watching GT is because it was never presented to me in a good light, or as something you should take even remotely seriously. Everybody I know shit talked the hell out of
Said it was
GT.
bad. Like,
Yes. And then by the time I got older and it was trying to get and was considering giving it a chance, I then hear like, things where someone goes, here's everything that fucking happens in GT. Also, here's why that sucks. And I'm like, you know what? That's exactly why that would suck. I
And
had
then
that
they ended
same.
up.
It's like I have the same reaction hearing you talk about this that you had watching it. Without you even
Probably the
having to
worst
tell me
reaction
that
was-
you didn't like it, you just told me the synopsis, and I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
And then they ended up retconning it and being like, yeah, that never happened.
There was no
Yeah.
need to retcon because they barely presented it as canon to begin with. Like,
True.
that was the main argument before Super even came out is, yeah, that ain't
True.
Toriyama's shit.
True. Did Toriyama have a hand in GT?
I think, if anything, he was like, this is what a character would look like. I think he was very loosely. I think he was very, very loosely related to GT in the sense that, yeah, you can call it Dragon Ball and do this. But, like, I think he even mentioned the idea of Goku even if he didn't mention it, other people would mention the whole idea of why Goku's a kid in GT. It's because Pilaf wishes Goku was a kid because Goku was about to whoop his ass while he was wishing for the Dragon Balls. He's like, I wish you were a kid again so you'd be easy to deal with. But that doesn't make sense because the only reason Pilaf knows Goku and is scared of Goku is because of when Goku was a kid and was whipping his ass. So why would he wish for
He
Goku?
was like, why can this kid whoop my ass? I remember that.
Yeah, wish for him to be dead. Wish for him to be super old and decrepit. Wish for anything other than for him to be
no legs.
at the same point. Yeah, at the same. Yeah, wish your powers got taken away. Wish you were a regular ass human of Yamcha level. And
Don't do your shit like that.
what? Look, what should I have said? Chaozu.
Yes. No, don't do Chelsea like that.
I'm gonna do
You got
both
one
of
of
them
the
like
best-
that. The
You
best
got
one.
one of the best self-destruct moves in the game. Chelsea, goodbye at the end. In the game, that move was the shit. He blows himself up.
I love how like that did nothing but break the man's armor.
Oh yeah, in the actual
Self-destructing never really works.
this motherfucker like it says bye to his friend with a tear in his eye. Sorry, I'm gonna see you. No, and it didn't do shit.
Nope.
Bitch, the fuck.
I mean, Vegeta said goodbye to his whole ass family and even Kakarot and self-destructed, and it didn't do shit. There's a character in Naruto who does something similar with an even bigger explosion, and it also does absolutely nothing to the person they were trying to kill.
Majin Buu blew up, but he came back.
Yeah. Or are you talking
So
about
at
when he
least
blew up the planet?
he blew some shit up. I didn't see the whole full thing with the blue
Like, he
scientist.
kills everyone on the planet with his, like, genocide attack at one point. And I think later he does just straight up blow up Earth and they have to wish it back.
Right. Because he was Super Boo and he blew up, and then that's how he came back as Kid Boo because there was a cell left or some shit like that.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Majin Buu was a weird character because Majin Buu was like I can whoop everybody's ass fucking like character, yet I'm gonna turn motherfuckers into food and eat them. And when he fucking turned Chi-Chi into a fucking hard-boiled egg, that's one of those things where people flipping through channels and say, I'm gonna give Dragon Ball Z a fuck this show. Like, that's one of those moments. And how good it is, somebody would have turned on and said, this man just turned this woman into a fucking egg. Ain't gonna fucking eat. I'm good. What the hell? And then when he became Super Boo, and okay, this is what happens when you take shows that are like so fantastical, fantasy, science fiction, whatever type shows, and when you actually try to dissect them and you realize just how much sense they don't make. Majin Buu was big. He was the big puffy pink blob thing. He was bad for a second, but then he turned out to be good. So to be good, he did the whole beam to release the bad off of him, and that was the skinny brown Boo dude or whatever. So then the brown Boo, now the good Boo had expelled his bad energy. They got in a fight. Then brown Boo turns good Boo into food, eats him, and becomes a whole different Boo. Shouldn't he have just gone back to pink Boo and just been bad? But yet somehow eating good Boo as bad Boo made him a... It's like, I get it, but at the same time, huh? It's like, I get it. It makes sense, but like, okay, maybe if I follow you because, well, it's like Terminator, where John Connor was like, holy shit, I'm about to die, and this might be the end of mankind. Hey, my friend, go back in time to before, we were almost basically living in Armageddon. Well, the world blows up, not Armageddon, but we basically living in, just like a destitute wasteland of Earth. And go back, and I'm gonna need you to impregnate my mom to make sure I'm born, so we can lead this onslaught of the revolt of the humans and shit. It's like, bro, how are you born right now then?
Because he sent himself into the past, or he sent his friend into the past to fuck his mom.
So how is he born to do that?
Well, you see,
he always was sending himself, or where'd he come from? Which came first?
It's a time loop.
The sperm of the egg. What'd you say?
It's a time loop. That's just how time loop works.
Which came first? The John Connor.
It's just like Skynet. It's just like Skynet. They sent a robot in the past to stop said friend from impregnating the lady, only for that to be destroyed, which allowed the old school Skynet to recover the chip to learn how to make the fucking robots in the first place. Like, they had to fail in order to exist.
I get it, but it's just like...
And it's so stupid.
All that other shit is like... And don't get me wrong, Terminator and Terminator 2 is some of the best movies ever made, easily. But how you alive?
You just got to accept that time loops are a thing. Like, look, as an X-Men reader, I can tell you sometimes time loops ain't gonna make sense.
Well, it's like I said. If anything that is that sci-fi and that fantasy and fantastical, it can make sense, but you really got to suspend disbelief, because the more you really try to dissect it, the more it's gonna be like, bitch, what?
When you hear the terms time travel, just know your story is going to make a lot less sense if you continue to dissect it. Unless they try to set some hard rule in where you can only time travel in one direction. Like, spoilers for One Piece, at one point somebody has a time devil fruit power, but that lets them time travel. But they can only go forward into the future. They can never go back into the past. So it's like, okay, so you can't go. So there's not a lot of timey-wimey shenanigans where you just, oh, I set up because I did this in the past. It's made my future self send me to the past to make sure that happened. And it's like, wait, how? Like with X-Men and Terminator and all that stuff. Because X-Men has a ton of those causal time loop things. Fucking Cable in and of himself, as I mentioned in another one. Cable has a techno-organic virus given to him by Apocalypse, who got it from a time-traveling Cable who was like, fuck you, I'ma fucking kill you, and infected Apocalypse with the techno-organic virus back in ancient Egypt.
Which would mean that if you really dissected it, he had the virus to give to him,
and so that he could give him the virus.
The dude gave him the virus, but how did he get the virus to give him? So he gave him the virus. So he shouldn't have had the virus, but then he wouldn't have.
Strife is named after himself. Strife is named after himself. Apocalypse is like, I'm naming you after the one person to really harm me. I'm naming you Strife. Said kid grows up to go back into the past and really want to fucking kill Apocalypse and gravely wound him. Only for Apocalypse to live long enough into the future to name a kid Strife. He's named after himself.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like the whole time your name was Strife, but you were named because later on
you would be mad and hate him and go. You would hate him enough to go to the past, and he didn't realize. Obviously, Apocalypse isn't looking at this baby and like, you're gonna grow up to do this. I think the same thing happened with Cable. He's just like, this is a really powerful fucking baby. I'm gonna infect this with the virus to see if it's worthy of being a vessel for me. Was the deal with Cable. I got this virus from some random dude that attacked me back in the past, but I'm gonna infect this baby with it and see what happens. And then with Strife, hey, he thought the baby was cured of the virus and not just a clone of said baby. And he's like, yes, you are a powerful vessel. You need a name to match your power. So I'm gonna name you after this motherfucker I met years ago that attacked me and did a lot of damage to me. I'm gonna name you Strife. It's like, what?
What was I gonna say? I do think if you look at Back to the Future, which I do say is one of the best movies ever made, really. But I think if you look at Back to the Future, maybe not like 2 or 3 as much, but the first one, I don't really think. I mean, of course, it's got to be some. It's got to be some. If you really look, but I don't really think there's too many holes in that movie.
How did they still take a picture all standing together if they didn't exist?
Who was they?
The him and his siblings. You know how as the movie kept going on, they would disappear from the photo slowly or whatever that he had in his hand and be like, oh shit, time's going weird.
They were able to take a picture of all of them standing together if they didn't exist because one by one they were all slowly not existing anyway.
But the picture, let's say when he was fading away from the picture itself wasn't fading away from his hand. It was just a random picture of that spot.
So you're saying not so much how was he able to take the picture, but how the fuck was he like not just becoming invisible?
There should have been a lot more going on with that photo than just what was going on. It's fine because it was just a plot device to explain that time's fucking up. Jesus Christ. But that's like you said, there's minor nitpicks. There's probably other ones because it is nigh impossible to make a time story or story involving time travel without some bullshit having to be involved. And that you miss. Yeah. Which is why some people just embrace the bullshit and just say, causal time loop, don't worry about it. Or others are like, or you do Rick and Morty who are like, we'll do multiverse shit, but we're not doing time travel shit. Or at least for the first 4 seasons. They were really, I don't know about the 5th season. That's the only reason I say that. They're like, no, we don't want to do time travel shit because that is too big a can of worms. Especially when you have a multiverse show.
Right. And multiverse just means that there's several different
universes. There's several different timelines and universes going on at the same time. And in each universe, and it's not necessarily, because sometimes with the multiverse theory, with the time travel is you can have a universe that's exists because it is a separate timeline, as opposed to it's just a separate universe. That all right. So let's say one thing with multiverse theory when it comes to time travel is, oh, today I woke up and I decided to go get groceries. I went to Walmart. It took me a while to get to Walmart. By the time I came home, the show I wanted to watch was not on TV, and instead I saw a news article about a local play, and then I just like, let me go audition for this play. Next thing I know, I get discovered by a talent agency, and zip boom, straight to the moon, I'm famous. Yet there's another universe in this particular theory that I'm saying where instead of deciding to go to Walmart, I decided to go to Dollar General. It was much closer. My trip was faster. I came home. The show I wanted to watch was on. I'm like, okay, turn it off immediately, play a video game. I don't find out about the play. I don't go get discovered by a talent artist. I just stay home, and next thing you know, I'm homeless because I eventually become a slob from playing video games and lose my job and shit. That's a different universe, or different timeline. But there's a universe where that happened instead, and my life is entirely different. But then
one where you were very successful, one where you were like not successful in the slightest.
Yeah, that, and then there's multiverse in the sense that, but that's closer, like I said, to alternate timelines, but people calling them different universes, as opposed to the multiverse idea of there's 80,000 different means. We can all do whatever we want without really affecting the other ones unless we travel between the multiverses. So there's a multitude of reasons that I could do this. Or like, let's say there's a universe where I'm made out of liquid or some shit, or everybody's made out of liquid. Oh, whatever, wacky multi-universe thing. And I kind of like that idea of multiple universes, if for no other reason than the super duper butterfly effect thing just sounds like that would be way too, and it is way too big of a clusterfuck.
Where if you were to go back in time and like the whole step on a butterfly, it would alter the entire course of the trajectory of how the world went, because that one said butterfly flapped its wings just right, which caused, this pollen off this plant to fly over here. It landed on the ground. This bug came by, or this like other animal came by, put its nose in it, it caused it to sneeze, the snot hit, those germs affected the floor, and it was like this whole big old thing.
Pig eats the flower, gets a cold, sneezes, next thing you know, swine flu happens. All because that butterfly flapped its wings that day.
Yeah, exactly right. So the whole thing is something as small as a butterfly, accidentally killing the butterfly alternates the whole entire flow.
I think that is so. I don't think that's so stupid, but that is too far fetched. Like you said, they're too big a can of worms.
I'll put it like this. I think everything that we're talking about, I honestly think everything we're talking about is far fetched in its own way. So I see what you mean. But no, I get that though.
Oh yeah, time travel's impossible and all that shit. I will definitely say that.
Like I don't believe in multiverses.
I don't either. I just said I like that idea of a multiverse if it was to exist. Like
you said far fetched, but you're saying that you just think the butterfly effect not so much far fetched, but the butterfly effect is just fucking dumb. You think
a little somewhere in between those where I'm like, I don't like that idea. Because
that episode of Simpsons. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
We had an episode of Simpsons where he kept going back in time, and then he would accidentally do something in the prehistoric era. It was a toaster that got like souped up by, I want to say, Dr. Frink. It was a Treehouse of Horror by Dr. Frink or some shit. And he kept like it accidentally, like he put toast in it, they held it, and it accidentally took him back in time and then forward real quick. So he went back to the prehistoric era with dinosaurs. Accidentally was killing like stuff, like accidentally fell on a bug one time, sneezed one time, and of course, we're humans, so they weren't used to it. His sneeze killed like a T-Rex or some shit, and it was like all this stuff. And every time he would go back in time and kill something, he would come forward in time, and the world would be different. Yeah. Like he went forward in time, and he went forward in time and everything seemed normal, but then they were like, oh, well, Everybody's not smiling, and here comes our overlord again. And it was like the world was run by fucking Ned Flanders. He was the overlord of the fucking universe, and he had these hooks that he put in your mouth to make you smile and shit. So he was like, what the fuck? He went back one time and came forward. And it was like all this other crazy shit. But he went back one time, came forward one time, and he was like, he was rich as fuck. Like Marge was decked out in all types of pearls and rich as shit. Bart and Lisa were well behaved. Hello, father. How are you? Here's today's paper. You know, he was fucking nice ass house. Like they well behaved kids. So, oh, okay, maybe I can do this. And he's like, okay, pass the donut. He's like, pass the donut. What's the donut? Ah!
It's cool to think of alternate timelines and stuff like that. That's always fun for like episodes and stuff. It's just, I guess, my preferred form of time travel because I feel like it leads to, I'll say, the least amount of shit. We gotta go back and fix things because we set our rules this way. Is the rules that I think Doctor Who and some other things seem to apply by, where it's, if it happened, if you go back in the past and you do something, whatever, it happened already anyway. You just didn't realize that you had come back in the past to do it. If that makes any sense. Like, how did Banner put it in the one movie where he's like, if you go from the present to the past, you can't necessarily change your future because your future was your past because you lived it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So technically, it already happened, especially with the way they did it, where they came back to that specific point in time and all that stuff. But the idea of, without even having to explain it that way, because one of the seasons of Doctor Who, the only few episodes I've seen of Doctor Who, it was during the time of the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. And he had a thing where his assistant at the time, because he has a new assistant with every new form of the Doctor, was like, oh God, what about the time rules if I mess, if I step on a butterfly? So don't step on any butterfly. Why would you step on a butterfly? But he was just doing shit. And she's like, are you sure you should do that? Yeah, why not? And I'm like, see, I like that idea of, I'm going to do stuff in these other timelines. If it happens, it happens. And I don't think, because it's not going to actually affect anything. I think their idea of it is, I've already come back and done all this. So why am I going to trip off of that?
I need to check out Doctor Who. I've never seen a single episode and wouldn't even know where to look.
There's a scary episode involving these There's a scary episode involving these weeping angel statues. Weeping angel statues. Yeah, like the crying angels. Where the whole idea is, if you're looking at them, they're stuck in statue pose and covering their eyes. But if you look away, they can move and attack you. And they move at like super ridiculous speed, so much that blinking could be the difference between life and death.
Holy shit! You gotta walk in there like Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why they covered their eyes, because if they're working together, it's like if anyone looks at them, they're a statue. So they don't want to look at each other and turn each other into statues.
Holy shit!
You know what I mean? So that's why they cover their eyes.
It's pretty clever, but that's also like, damn.
Yeah.
Wait, and isn't the whole thing supposed to be that the Doctor, because Doctor Who's been going on since the 60s, and it's always like a new actor, and the Doctor, the whole thing is gets reincarnated or some shit.
Yeah, like when he dies, he gets reincarnated. I think he, at some point, was told he had a total of 13 lives. And I'm not sure which Doctor they're on, or if they decided to break that rule by then. Like I said, the 2 or 3 episodes, or 3 or 4 episodes I've seen of Doctor Who were like the first 3 or 4 episodes of the 10th Doctor, David Tennant.
That's the one that a lot of people like are talking about. I've heard that name a lot.
Yeah, because he's gone on to do a lot of shit since. Hell, he was Scrooge McDuck in the most recent DuckTales.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I think they had a female doctor currently.
Okay.
And that was like a whole thing. Well, I was saying I think that was a whole thing just because
yeah.
everybody Well, no, I was saying because everybody thought that it was just gonna be all dudes. It was like, oh, we could be a woman too. Holy shit, you know. What was I gonna say? But what is Doctor Who trying to do?
Exist. I don't know. He's a Time Lord. He's a Time Lord, and that's his species can do the reincarnating thing. I'm pretty sure he is, if not the last one, he's one of the last two, and the villain is said other one, or the main villain is said other one, and
Okay.
he's probably trying to stop him as well as because he hops around in this fucking phone booth that works as a time machine, the TARDIS. It has time and relative dimension in space or some shit like that. Is what it stands for. It stands for something.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's time and relative D word in space. I'm pretty sure.
Makes sense.
So he can move through time, and pretty much wherever he goes, he gets there pretty much coincidentally right when he needs to be to stop whatever's happening. If he goes too far in the future, there's these robots that just say destroy and kill people. The Daleks or whatever, destroy. They're an iconic Doctor Who villain. There's other times where he does these other things. I think the Weeping Angels debuted in David Tennant's season, and then they started showing up more after that because they caught on with the crowd. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they showed up in later seasons because they were a big hit. That episode entitled Blink was a good episode, and that was one of the first ones I saw because a friend of mine down here was a fan of Doctor Who, and he's like, check out this episode. And I'm like, I don't like horror, but it's a very horror-esque episode because think about it, it's creatures that can kill you for blinking. Obviously that's terrifying. Also the whole, hey, where'd this statue come from?
Oh my god, I'm dead.
Exactly. So it's a very, if you like horror stuff, that's a good episode to watch. You don't necessarily need to know everything about Doctor Who before going into it. It's a good standalone episode.
I just know too a lot of people that talk about Doctor Who love Doctor Who, so that's why I need to check that shit out.
It is one of those things that's been around for fucking ever. And when you are around for fucking ever, there's a reason, whether everybody gets that or not. The people who get it clearly got it enough to where it's around forever. Doctor Who, Dragon Ball, One Piece, The Simpsons, wrestling, pro wrestling, exactly. Yeah, so there's things that's like, I don't get it, but there's clearly a reason why people like it. Not like the majority of the things I listed, with the exception of Doctor Who, just because I think it was just a little too much for me. I think I didn't want to commit the time to watch 9 Doctors worth of things, because it's not like every season is one Doctor. Doctor Who has been around since like the 60s or 50s or some shit.
Well, I said the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, it's been around for fucking ever, and I ain't got that kind of time.
that is like, it's that if it's been around since the 60s, that's about 60 fucking years.
Like close to. Yeah. Now it's like if people are like, but you read X-Men comics and watched One Piece and stuff like that. First off, One Piece ain't shit. Ain't shit of when it comes to time investment. It is the least time investment out of those 3 things. X-Men comics from 1963 up to now, or Doctor Who from probably 1963 up to now, is nothing, or both ridiculously more than reading one manga from 99 or 97 to now, which is only one series I have to read and or watch. Whereas Doctor Who had like 9 different doctors. X-Men, you have the main book, and you have like all these hundreds of auxiliary books to read as well, which leads to thousands of other issues you have to read.
What's so funny? I looked it up real quick just to see. I heard what you said, right? What's so funny, right, is like it started in 63. It actually did start in 63. on BBC One.
Because I was like, we're probably 63 as well.
Which means, holy motherfucker.
63 was a good year.
But that means that is like that's pretty much 60 fucking years.
Yeah. X-Men's almost 60 years old. Avengers is almost 60 years old. Because Avengers started in 63 as well. Specifically the book Avengers. What are you saying? The sitcom in Britain?
No, I was gonna say The Simpsons because we talking about The Simpsons. The Simpsons ain't no damn
that was 80 something, right? The Simpsons.
Like probably 89, if not 90.
Okay. Yeah. Late 80s.
The Simpsons is like 32 years old or some shit like that. So.
Oh, then that would be 90 or 89.
Yeah, 32, 33, some shit. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, long series are here for a reason. There's a reason One Piece is almost outsold, or has outsold Batman in terms of comic copies sold.
Yeah.
The only thing it has left to beat comic-wise is Superman. Worldwide, at least.
That's going to be hard to dethrone.
I mean, give it a few more years and it will. Because one thing that One Piece has going for it that Superman doesn't, or other comics don't, is, like I said, it is one series. So all the sales go to that one series. Superman's been in a shit ton of shit forever. Same thing with Batman. But they've also been in a lot of series that aren't just straight up named Superman or Batman.
And they've also been in a lot of stuff that's just like one-off. Like, this is just how many comics for this series go in this direction. And then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to One Piece is always
all 1,050 something or no 1,000 and all 1,000 and as of today 49 chapters.
Holy shit! The ability to think of that much like stuff.
There's like over 800 named characters in that series that all have their own unique enough design to where that's definitively that character. Yeah, and that was as of a few years ago. Main reason I know that is because there was a video someone had where it's like the appeal of One Piece, where he talks about why people like this series. But one of the things he mentions when he's trying to talk about the sheer size of it at the time, because it wasn't even 1,000 chapters yet, he's like, and over 800 named characters, like characters with names. So if you go, oh, this guy, yeah, talking about it. Oh yeah, Axehand Morgan, I know that guy. Or fucking Alpaca Chino.
Is that a real person? Alpaca Chino?
It's a real character. It's technically an alpaca.
Okay.
But yes, Alpaca Chino is a thing. Yeah, Alpaca Chino is a thing.
Okay.
But yes, so there's a lot of stuff there. So there's a lot of creativity that goes into that series, and he keeps coming up with shit. And the fact that we are just while we're technically right outside the home stretch, like I'm pretty sure there's one more saga, not one more arc, but one more saga after the current one. That'll probably be the final saga. It's crazy to think that there's still that much left and we still have all this stuff that we've seen so far.
Like I said, because we're talking about stuff that goes on for so long, it's crazy to me. Even if after a while, the reception starts to kind of wane and how good it is, like the quality may, according to the general consensus, may dip. It's crazy to me that you could just think of something for that much time general, whatever it is.
But the crazy thing is, for the most part, like obviously, whenever something comes out that has public opinions on it, you're mainly going to hear the negatives because the negatives speak louder. That said, outside of the vocal minority, even 1,000 episodes / 1,000 chapters into it, people are still crazy about it. Like, it ain't fallen off yet. Like, how do you keep something fresh 1,000 things? Like, that's why when people tell me I'm creative, I'm like, no, I ain't. You want somebody that's creative, you look at that shit.
I mean, but okay, and
The
I'm not
most
saying.
creative thing I came up with was essentially Dragon Ball slash Pokemon fan fiction.
Well, I'm not saying this to be like buck up, friend, but I'm just saying that what you saying in this sense is like saying that, well, he can lift 500 pounds. I can only, bench press 200, so I'm not strong. It's
I
like
mean,
you strong. It's just that motherfucker is going for the gold. Goddamn it, he going for the gusto.
yeah.
He beat the game playing it on expert level. Like
I
that's what
hear
I
you,
mean.
but I'm just saying, like, there are
But
things like that, even to a lesser degree than Oda. I see all these authors out there, or hell, even if they're not already famous, I see other peers of mine or friends of mine that are more talented than myself. And I don't mean this in a self deprecating way, I mean it in an objective, factual statement. In the sense of bare bones. All right, however good I am at acting, you are good at acting and music. By literal by literal, but
I appreciate you saying that I'm good. Thank you.
but by literal definition of number of things we are good at, you are more talented than me. That is not a
Well,
self-deprecated thing. It is merely a statement of fact, and that's fine.
well, what I was gonna say was it's all about how many things I've attempted because I used to suck at writing music too. But it was because I had to crack the code of how it worked for me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, people always like you sell yourself short, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm merely stating fact. I have a curse or bad trait, I guess, where I look at things from a logical perspective, and I'm like, yes, 1 plus 1 is 2, motherfucker. Why don't you see that? Oh, come on now. 1 plus 2 can equal 3. Come on. You should stop underestimating yourself. 1 plus 0 is clearly 8. Come on now. And I'm like,
well,
no, nigga, 1 plus 1 is 2.
if a motherfucker looked me in my face and said 1 plus 0 was fucking 8,
Well, now you know how I feel when people try to like hit me with that. Oh, come on! And all I'm doing is like saying 1 plus 1 is 2 or 5 plus 6 is 11, and they're like, no, 1 plus 0 is 100, and I'm like,
before we make this a whole motivational like after an
I'm
hour.
not asking for motivation. Clearly,
No, I know you're not. No, you're not. You're not. I'm being silly. I know because you very much have stated no. I'm not. No, but I would say before it starts to trend in that direction anyway, and whatever, what have you, whatever, blah blah do do. Because God knows we've had enough podcasts where we motivated each other. You motivated me. I motivated you. So before we do any of that, if you guys would like to give us some level of positive motivation, you know what you could do? You could go ahead and comment down below and just engage us in discussion. And you don't have to motivate us with
some
your
of you
comments.
guys have started doing that. So someone
Yeah,
point
some of
out
you
that
all
the
have
duck
been.
is indeed dapper.
So if you all have been and have been doing it for a little bit here and there and blah blah blah. Shout out to Cactus Juice, old girl, one of my friends from back in the day that kind of saw that I was like doing podcasts. Was like, what, a podcast? That's dope. So she checked it out. So I appreciate that. But yeah, and of course other people here and there. But no, you don't have to motivate us in the comments. But you know what? If you want to leave a comment, we would appreciate it.
What do you
And
think
also,
about popular stuff?
Okay, there you go. But also, if you want to engage, then you can engage us respectively in our solo social medias. So, yours truly, if you would like to, because we talked about me making music, you can go ahead and listen to my debut solo album, My Secret Identity, where I am under the name Superjaz, which is spelled
Superjaz.
as nature intended. Spelled Superjaz. You may have to put in to find the album Superjaz, My Secret Identity, because I'm not so famous yet. And also, if you go on YouTube, by this point, you should probably be able to find 2 music videos, but definitely 1 music video of both singles that are out or will be out. So really appreciate it if you go ahead and give those a watch and a listen. Also, if you want to go ahead and find me on my Twitter, you can go ahead and find me under the name Superjaz2. So that would be under the name Superjaz number 2. And of course, if you want to find me on Instagram, I'm under the name Forever Superjaz. The word forever is spelled correctly. Where can they find you, man?
Well, first off, you can find me here every week, every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube under feogrande. That's Feo Grande. I got some stuff going over there. Like I mentioned, I believe last week I've had a thing on there where I talk with a good friend of mine, Bill Smith, about various movies. We traded them back and forth, and we covered Hamilton, Molly's Game, Bloodsport, amongst other things like that.
They're gonna get me on an episode. They don't know it yet.
Anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's my channel, so who knows? But yeah, and we also have things over there. Speaking of reviewing movies and shit, this guy and I have lots of things on there talking about Dragon Ball Z movies. Speaking of fandoms that we belong to. But yeah, stop on that. I also have a Twitter and a Twitch, both under the name Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by.
And of course, besides just the Whatever We Want podcast every Wednesday, 11 Eastern, 10 Central, you can also, because we can't shut the hell up about wrestling on the Whatever We Want podcast, every first Wednesday you can hear our thoughts of the state of things for said previous month of wrestling in general on First Sunday Wrestling, which drops on this channel as well. All right, so all that being said, speaking of things that go on for a long ass time and motherfuckers hopefully keep creating good quality shit, but whether they do or not, who's to say? With this podcast, the fuck are we gonna talk about next time?
Whatever we want.
Be nice to yourself, everybody.
Adiosness.